Welcome back to the Hour of Power podcast. I'm sure you all remember me. I'm Trey, but we got a new guy here. His name is Logan. Logan, you've been on here before, but tonight we're kicking it off. NWA on Roku. We're here to talk about it. We're here to talk about the first episode of Power and how it all went down. Of course, it was recorded a while ago for the
Mm.
Crockett Cup, but did they get it down? Did they do a good job of putting it on Roku? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm an NWA fan. Logan's an NWA fan, and we're here to just kind of, not pick apart Power per se, but we're going to review it and talk about it. And I'm excited to be back on the air. I'm a little rusty, as you can tell. Logan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, man. Just ready to talk about some NWA wrestling.
Me too, and I'm excited about the new TV deal. I thought this was a great chance for us to jump back on to the podcast, and we've got a whole team now. We've got myself, Logan, we've got Katie, we've got Brody, unfortunately, and we have and we have Justin all the way from Germany. That's right, we have NWA fans all the way from Germany. We've got a great team of loyal NWA fans, and we want to put together the best podcast we can on a weekly basis. So let's just jump right into it. Let's talk about this first episode on Roku, because my old co-host, my old tag partner, Mr. Knighton Thompson, I really, really, really want to get his perspective, his opinion of what happens, because we open up with a great intro, and the production has gotten way better in
Way
NWA.
better.
Yes, way better. I love the video package. It's reminding fans, hey, we've been here for a long time. We used to be number one back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and we've had all kinds of legends from Dusty Rhodes to Ric Flair, Sting. We get right into it. It starts off, it even has a live feel to it. I felt that way, Logan, whenever we go
Mm-hmm.
to this battle royal. And I didn't put down detailed notes, but basically the result of this battle royal was the Slime Balls getting the win. Knighton Thompson's
Yeah.
favorite tag team. He loves them. I'm sure he was just, he was ecstatic when he saw this go down. But a little birdie has told me their t-shirt sales are pretty good, and they even mentioned it in commentary. So maybe that might have something to do with the sudden push. But either way, Slimeball is coming from GCW popularity and now here in the NWA and making a name for themselves and getting into the Crockett Cup tournament by winning this tag team battle royal. A little bit awkward because once your partner's been eliminated, you have to leave the ring. Hey, you're tapping on, hey, your partner got eliminated. It's time to go, buddy. So I've always felt the tag team battle royal was kind of a little bit strange of a concept. I don't know about you, but let's get your thoughts on this match.
Yeah, tag team battle royal tends to be a little clunky, especially if you've got some tag teams that are kind of just put together for the purpose of filling the spots. Like I thought it was a little fun when they threw uh, uh, Smalls over the rope, and the guy caught him to prevent from being eliminated, and then got pushed back out on him. That's kind of a spot that happens a lot in those types of battle royals and stuff. But definitely the win for the slime balls. Slime balls are fun, and the thing about it is that if you don't have, and I think sometimes maybe that's something that WWE is a little bit lacking in right now. They don't have that fun, just exciting thing, and that may be like the competition with AEW that was more real, and so they don't have as much of like a laugh thing. I mean, even when you're turning R-Truth into somebody that's serious, cutting his dreads off. Now you don't have a comic relief person really. But the slime balls being comic relief, I think it's fun, and I really enjoy seeing kind of an underdog top win. And I don't think it took any of the gas out of blunt force trauma to do the job for
Yeah,
them.
we'll move on to that because that's what gave it that live atmosphere. Because directly right after the battle royal, when they score their number 12 seed, they're taking on blunt force trauma with Aaron Stevens, and it did have a live feel because they came straight out right after the battle royal,
And
and
Aaron
we get
Stevens was
right into
late.
this match. What's that?
I said, and Aaron Stevens was late. He come
Yes, he
running down
was. They're like, "Where's
afterwards.
Aaron Stevens at?" Even commentary mentioned that. I don't know what was going on there, but he showed up for his team. But basically, blunt force trauma just threw him around, ragdolled him for much of the match. But then you get the upset from the slime balls, the upset victory, and I mean, it was just even the way they won the battle royal was clever. I like the spot where he
Yeah.
jumps on his back and then kind of gives him a drop kick to send the other opponent outside. So I liked it. Knighton may have not liked it, but I liked it. I thought it was good, and like you said, you need these characters, and wrestling's all about characters. It's all
Hmm.
built on characters. That's what draws people in. Is these characters, whether you want to see them get the crap beat out of them or win. If you look at it from an underdog perspective, they kind of remind me of like the Headbangers,
Yeah.
a fun tag team, maybe like um, not as
Or even the
tough as the
Godwin.
Headbangers, maybe, you know what I'm saying, but uh, there's something about them. They've got a face thing going on, even though they're kind of paired with Carson Drake. I don't know if you've watched previous episodes, but they're always paired with Carson Drake, and he's even helped them win some matches. But they've I don't know, they've got this thing going on with them. They're pretty big baby faces in my eyes, especially after getting a win against Blunt Force Trauma.
Yeah. And I think that Aaron was late because he was shining his shoes, making sure they were spotless, and had no clue that it was time to go. See?
Oh, he was hilarious. Then we get to the end of that match. Like I said, it had a live feel to it because directly after the match, you spin into this where uh, Tim Storm comes out. He's Baron. What is the name? Can you help me out here?
Baron
Baron
von
something.
Storm.
Darren, yeah, he comes out and he puts the claw on Aaron Stevens. Of course, Aaron sells it beautifully. Always a treat to see Aaron Stevens on my screen. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he was on the first episode of NWA Power on Roku. But yeah, so you just get him put the claw on him. A character that I'm not even that familiar with yet, by the name of Soda. I hope I'm getting
So
that
the
right.
kid. Hmm.
Soda Kid, yeah, coming out and kind of having um
Well, they called it
a
an
keeper
orb of
kind
some
of.
sort, but
What's
it
that?
looked like a 3-year-old's bouncy ball. But whatever
Well,
works, I guess.
so he had some kind of control over Baron, and he was able to release the claw off Aaron Stevens eventually. This was Jack's role before he passed away, I
Mm,
believe, when they were
yeah.
in that tag team together. So yeah, it was kind of cool. I mean, look, it's Aaron Stevens doing comedy, and I'm never gonna, you know what I'm saying? That's the way I looked at it, with him squirming around in the claw and just being so animated and stuff. So, definitely didn't mind that. Um, so we get into these segments in between the matches after this, and there's this segment where they meet at the NWA territory headquarters. This is building to some
Hmm.
kind of angle. You have Joe Kazana come down with the country gentleman, as they talked to Kenzie Page. Of course, Kenzie runs Crossfire. You got Mims there as the national heavyweight champion representing. You got different owners from different territories there. And it's really just, it progresses into more segments throughout the show that basically is just Joe putting over Joe. That's the way I looked at it. So but I believe it's heading somewhere. It's going somewhere. I just don't know where it's going. How did you perceive this segment?
Well, the Joe's got to give the good word out of the good book. That's
Right,
his whole
right.
deal.
Great
Um,
characters, man. I'm glad they. I mean,
he's
there for a
looking more
while
and
they were
more like
faces, but
Colonel Sanders every day.
yes, it's over for me. I enjoy it, and the Country Gentleman and Joe Kazana. It's just like they were cheesy baby faces, in my opinion. But now that you've kind of turned them heel, like they just seem more badass. I mean, I like them. I'm digging the
Yeah.
whole gimmick. But where is this going with Joe as president? What kind of rules is he going to put out there? Like, where are we going with this?
It's like the heats with like Kenzie Page. Like, what is Kenzie Page and him going to fight? Because I mean, I'd like to see that.
Something's happening. I mean, maybe they're building for the next territory wars
Yeah.
thing that they do, where all the territories get together. Maybe something along those lines. Maybe we get a really badass tournament out of this. But I'm anxious to see where they're going with this. Maybe they're pushing a certain superstar from the territory systems. And that's a perfect transition into our next match, and that is Exodus Pro, basically. You got EC3, that's his territory in Cleveland, Ohio, um, taking on Jane Mitchell's team with Alex Misery and Crazy Steve and all the, you know what I'm saying?
The
Uh,
reject.
yeah, the Island of Misfit Toys.
Yeah.
Um, Here in the Crockett Cup, and Exodus is going to get the win here. Are you digging EC3's new tag team with Pretty Boy Smooth? I think Pretty Boy Smooth, this was kind of a coming out party for him. They wanted to showcase how big this guy was, and his body slams and his slaps and chops and everything. If you can book this guy just right, which they seem to be doing, you could really make this guy a legit threat for the heavyweight championship.
Absolutely. And I think, the jumping off point of this is I think that this tag team and kind of partnership with Exodus Pro has kind of come about with EC3 because they're going to eventually collide them together. And then that's going to be the rocket on the back of Pretty Boy Smooth, I think. That's just me spitballing, you know, uh, just at a guess. But I think that would do wonders for his career. It would make him, definitely not just have the look, but also beat somebody that is, you know, very
I think you're
viable
seeing
in that
EC3 is
heavyweight.
like a guy who wants to push the next generation.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Even though he's not really that old himself, he's a guy who wants to give back to the business. And I think with his Exodus Pro, it's like, hey, the more guys I can push and make into superstars in NWA, um, the more my shows are going to make, the more intrigued my shows are going to get in Cleveland, my school and all of that stuff. I'm going to make
Mm-hmm.
more money that way as well. Why not give these kids the rub? Why not give these guys that I've trained the rub, basically? So it's pretty genius of them, I think. It's a good way to get his territory out there as well. But yeah, this was a pretty decent match with Exodus Pro coming out the victors here. Really just showcasing Pretty Boy Smooth in this match, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion.
Yeah.
That's what it seemed to be. And then you got the star power of EC3. One thing I had wrote down was I enjoyed the entrance. I thought the entrance was pretty cool. Again, the
Mhm.
production seemed to step it up a little bit on this Roku debut. So yeah, I enjoyed this. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. It was a good match to kind of come down from the slime balls.
Yes, a little bit serious, a little bit
A
more
little more.
serious tag match.
Yeah,
Even though you had James Mitchell's weirdos, you know what I'm saying? But
right.
man, they
No,
were
the
they were
Gimp
bouncing
guy
around
just
for him.
kills
And
me. Oh,
Alex Misery, man, is a guy who seems to take the fall a lot. I would like to
yeah,
see this guy get a nice little push, especially in their junior weight division. That would be kind of cool. All right, so then we go to some promos after the match. You got Rhino coming in. Of course, you got the Rhino and Tom Latimer match that we're going to see in the weeks to come,
coming weeks. Yeah.
possibly next week. I didn't actually see the matches for next week. That's something they usually do, but they tried to give it a live perspective, like the live feel I liked about NWA Power this week. But as you pointed out, they did a promo with the Slime Balls, broad daylight, talking about winning the tag team titles that night. Correct?
Well, it was the former group with James Mitchell's group said we're taking that cup home tonight. You are. You're just in the early stages of this match, which of course, with NWA, they do film like a huge like pay-per-view or premium live event, however you
Yeah.
want to say it. And then they section it up to do their television shows. And also with the Slime Balls doing an after the match promo and it's daylight outside. Things like that. It's a
Yeah, it
continuity
kind of
thing.
broke that whole live concept that they had going on.
Hmm.
It felt live, and then you kind of broke it there. You almost had to, as me, I just pretty much ignored it because I was
Yeah,
just like, I did roll my eyes kind of thing, like, you didn't need to put this in here, or at least interview them in the back after, they look like they've had a match or two.
right.
So yeah, I agree with that. That's a good critique, for sure. But yeah, that did break the whole perception to me that it was a live event. I'm kind
Mhm.
of suspending my disbelief when I watch Power because I kind of know the results. You know what I'm saying, to most matches.
Right.
But watching it on Roku, I'm trying to watch it with the same goggles that a casual fan or a new fan coming on is watching. I've got several of my friends watching, um, and I'm trying to watch it from their perspective, basically. And
Right.
I've gone some weeks without watching it, so to me, it was a nice, fresh start. Basically. So you got the Rhino coming in. Tom Latimer does a promo, puts over the heavyweight championship, kind of gives his whole backstory. Um, his trials and tribulations and his ups and downs throughout the career, his career, basically, um, drugs and everything. And I didn't even know about that, but it was a nice promo. I think it really kind of is showing your new audience on Roku, like, here's our world champion. He's not in a match this week, but here he is. Here's his story. Here's his backstory. What did you think of the promos?
Well, I thought the promos were good. They had a much more professional feel to them. Like it was a more polished edge.
Yeah.
I felt like the and
Rhino feels like
Latimer.
he's coming in for more than just one match,
Yeah,
especially
yeah.
with the graphic and the whole, the little music they had for him and everything. And
Hmm.
it just felt like he's coming in. Hey, he's going to be, a regular talent used, which I'm
Well,
hoping is the case.
and two, you have to consider that they do have to make it viable for the possibility of him winning that title. Even
Right,
if it was just for one match, you got to make it believable that if he wins that belt, he's going to show up every episode, with it or something.
right.
But aside from that, I really enjoyed the Latimer promo. it was very real and very raw, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
thought that was important for them to show that.
Yeah, to establish their world champion as a relatable world champion because he is your babyface world champion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, my mind gets to turn and it's like, who who is going to really feud with Tom Latimer in the Roku era? I mean, I think it's time to pull the trigger on some of your homegrown talent, some of your
Hmm.
guys that you've got from your territory system. Um, I could name half a dozen. I'm not going to, but there is a lot out there. You've got a lot of good homegrown talent. And speaking of that, a great transition. We go into Brian Idol taking on Carson Drake in the main event for the vacant television championship. Two great homegrown talents, and I don't know if they're watching this. Well, I started, and I get it, okay, but outside the big bubble,
Right.
your WWE, AEW, MLW, all that stuff, ROH, all that stuff. This feels like homegrown NWA talent with Brian Idol meeting Carson Drake and knowing how hard Carson Drake works and uh, the fact that he runs CCW, um, the guy works his ass off. And it seems like he was the fall guy. When I was doing the NWA Power podcast with Knight, and it seemed like every big match he had, he was losing. It was against usually, top talent. No, don't get me wrong, but it was nice to see him get the win at the very first episode of NWA Power on Roku. Brian Idol winning the television championship. No better championship to put up on your first episode on Roku, I think.
I agree, and I gotta say before we get too far into it, Drake's entrance was great. The way that
Yeah,
they had the several
the
different
editing for that.
yeah, that was such a great edit.
The
It
split
had that
screen.
nice old feel to it, like nostalgic
Mm-hmm.
feel. You could 100% see like Paul Orndorff come through with that entrance, you
He
know.
has that perfect like
Yeah.
entitled pretty boy face. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you see guys like him, you're like, man, he was born to do this?
Oh yeah.
And he's so good in the role, and the little dance that he does with the, you know what I'm talking about. And then the cut, I love it, dude. He's so obnoxious.
He's
He's outstanding. He was a great television champion, and I wouldn't blame it if they wanted to put it on him. But I think it was appropriate to put it on Brian Idol here on the first episode on Roku. To put it on a baby face, a hardworking baby face, a guy who's been doing promo segments on past episodes. Um, uh, with his girlfriend, basically, and it's kind of building up. It was building up his character and who he was, basically. And here you got the payoff. He finally, after working so hard, he is the television champion on the main event, very first episode of Roku. Like I said, you couldn't have put a better belt as your main event on your first episode.
absolutely, because for so long they've had a TV title, but they didn't have a TV deal, and so now,
Right,
hey, here we are. This is the one to go to. You know, this is the one that needs to be defended often on Power. You know,
right.
and I think that's great. Um, the thing with Carson Drake, he's always the heel that you love to hate.
Right.
It you just love having him on your screen. He falls kind of in the same boat as the Aaron Stevens. You know, he there's not much they don't touch that isn't gold as far as comedy and
Yeah.
keeping a smile on your face, you know. But Idol has been at this for a while, and he's never they as they said that he's never held a championship in NWA, but he's been there for a long time.
Yes, he has.
So it's really been time for a trigger to be pulled on him, like you were talking about earlier, and I think this was the appropriate time to do it.
Yeah, it was great that they put over two of their homegrown talents in the main event for the television title. I like how that came to be. I don't know when the Roku deal went down. Did Billy Corgan have all this planned whenever he was booking this card? But it seemed to line up perfect. And before we get out of here, let's just talk about our overall feelings of the first episode. I'll get them out there. I thought this was a great first episode for NWA. There's a couple of little snafus with the slime balls and their promo outside. Um, don't know where the territory thing is going with Joe Kazana. I'm kind of interested in that. I'm just hoping it's a good payoff, because I do like seeing these segments where they're just out in real life and just being them. You know what I'm saying? Um, I enjoyed the battle royal. I enjoyed the whole slime ball and them being the getting the upset in the battle royal and against BFT. I think it was the right move to pull the trigger on them. They don't have to win this tournament to get over, basically. And I'm excited about Rhino coming in, man. It's Rhino. What the hell, you know? Uh, Main event was great. Exodus against James Mitchell's crew. That was just, showing off Pretty Boy Smooth, which I like. They're showing off their homegrown talent. I'm excited about NWA. I'm excited about next week. I don't even know if they've even released the matches yet, but I'm pumped about it. Let's get your overall review.
I think it was a great first episode. The production has improved. The fact that NWA as a whole can take people that are I'm not going to say unknowns, but homegrown, I guess, might be the best way to fit them, and can put storylines together and entertain you without having to buy $1 million contract out between the two bigs,
Right.
and I guess arguably the three bigs, um, but they don't have to really get that star power because NWA has always been based on just entertaining you with what is there. And that's an important thing to look at. It doesn't take a star power name. It just takes some talent in the back to act out a storyline that is strung together.
I
And
think their
they're
biggest
great at that.
business model, not to interrupt you though, but I think their biggest business model is selling or tickets at the gate. They're selling out a lot of shows, so they're thinking if we attach the NWA name to all these territories, that helps them out. That helps them better at the gate. It seems to be a business model of come see our shows
Mm-hmm.
rather than watch our show on TV.
Yeah.
Um, but the way he's chopping them up and everything, and putting the story out there on Roku, it's fine. It's fine. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I can watch it like that, especially if it's going to be edited, very well. I'll suspend my disbelief. I didn't read these spoilers. I didn't find out who won. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to let the story play out on screen, but it definitely has the business model of get your ass out and come see our shows. That's
Yeah.
how you're going to know what happens before everything else goes down.
And the other thing is the whole purpose of the territories is to take the big fish in a little pond and showcase them on the big show. And that's
Right.
essentially what's happening.
I mean, and that's how you find your stars. It's how you find your
Mm-hmm.
stars like Carson Drake, like Mims, um, all
Pretty
these
boy
guys.
smooth.
Pretty Boy Smooth, of course. Yes.
I mean, even the slime
Everybody,
balls.
a lot of their roster. What's that?
I said even the slime balls.
Even the slime balls, exactly. I mean, a good bit of their roster, man. Nobody can really. You can rag on NWA all you want, but you cannot go around saying, you know what, it's just ex AEW guys, it's ex WWE guys, because it's not.
That's not.
You know, and they're pushing guys that are new to the scene, guys that you've never seen before. And I'm excited about this. I think that's the direction that they're going to go. They're going to make their own stars, and that's what I've been wanting them to do this whole time. And that's what intrigues me, and that's why I'm going to be back next week. We'll see who's with me next week. It may be Logan, it may be Katie, it may be both of them. It may be even Justin from Germany, or it may even be Brody. We may even let him on here. I don't know. Probably not,
His
but
his picture's going to be
uh,
smaller though. It's just going to be this big on the screen. You know.
guys, as we go on, we'll keep adding crazy segments. I've got one little thing I want to promote. It's called the NWA promo tournament, where we take wrestling fans, 32 of them, and we put them in a giant tournament, and then we judge them. We judge the hell out of them, and then we're going to put it on this show eventually when we get down to the semifinals, and we're going to have whoever we have on, we're going to have them judge. They're gonna have to judge it right there. We're gonna have the promos on there. It's just a little project that I got started up here on NWA Power. We've got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. We're gonna have all kinds of guests. Please join us next week. Logan, thank you for being on tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.